Sharon Angle's outdone herself. An absolutely shocking questionnaire reveals she wants clergy endorsing candidates from the pulpit. Reverend Barry Lynn says it would turn houses of worship into electoral machinery. He'll sound off on that next. And welcome back to the Ed Show. Thanks for watching tonight. Nevada Tea Partier Sharon Angle is finally answering some questions. And her radical positions just seem to get crazier. Now, this wasn't a reporter Q&A. This was a 36-question questionnaire she gave to a conservative PAC that reveals what a nut job she really is. One of the questions asked, should clergy be allowed to support or disapprove of political candidates from the pulpit? Angle answered yes. This is stunningly hypocritical, considering Angle is billing herself as a constitutional defender. The separation of church and state is spelled out in the Constitution. And here's a shocker for you, Sharon. Clergy can preach whatever they want in their churches, as long as they give up their tax-exempt status. Houses of worship are given special exemption from paying taxes so that they can serve the people free from political and government interference. Joining me now is Reverend Barry Lynn, Executive Director of the group Americans United for the Separation of Church and State. Reverend, I tell you what, if this doesn't really exemplify that Sharon Angle is an airhead, I don't know what does.
Well, this is certainly a miserable idea. It has been resurrected from whatever the graveyard of really stupid ideas are. It's come up before, but now it's coming up again. And I want people to understand, if you could, as a church, a not-for-profit and tax-exempt church, if you could start to endorse candidates from the pulpit, or maybe even take money from the collection plate, because after all, you know, money is just speech now, you could have an enormous effect on a relatively unregulated campaign finance system that we have today. So this is when people say, well, shouldn't somebody out in the little church in the Dale be able to tell you who he's going to vote for? This would include freeing the mega ministries, the giant TV evangelists and TV preachers, into spending unlimited amounts of money promoting their favorite candidates. And that's a recipe for disaster and the corruption of the church.
You know, I go back to South Dakota back in 2004 when Tom Daschle was defeated, and the Catholic Church had a number of priests go right to the pulpit, right to the lectern on Sunday afternoon and talk politics. No one ever challenged them on their tax-exempt status. And I thought it was a real cheap shot. Maybe it was just too far out in the prairie. But the point being here is that the reverends are very clever at weaving their message in and out. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, some of these guys are not just clever. There's a group called the Alliance Defense Fund, a real right-wing group out in Arizona that is actually encouraging pastors in this upcoming election to just say, I endorse X, Y, or Z for whatever the open public seat is. In other words, they're deliberately trying to challenge this rule. And before somebody says, but wait a minute, don't pastors have freedom of speech? Of course they do. Jesse Jackson, Jerry Falwell, all these guys have always expressed their thoughts about issues, but never gone so far as to endorse candidates. Martin Luther King spoke almost every day about civil rights and about social justice. Never once did he endorse a candidate from the pulpit, because he understood the church is about spiritual matters. It's not about becoming part of some hack politician's political campaign.
Reverend, great to have you with us tonight. I appreciate your time here on the Ed Show.
Thanks
so much. Now let's get some rapid-fire response from our panel.